Hi, I'm Amanda Cromhout. I'm a loyalty professional with over 30 years of experience, and I've worked globally with industries and brands that always come back to the same question. And that same question is, how do we create a single view of our customer? What do they mean by this killer question? Effectively, take a retailer, an incredibly successful retailer that might be selling food, so they're food and general merchandise, but they have food division, they have clothing division, a homeware division, a beauty division. So that's just 4 divisions. There's lots more complexity in other businesses. Typically, an organization like that has a separate view of those customers depending on how they run the business internally. So they'll have separate general managers, they'll have separate KPIs per business, they'll have separate gross profit lines per business, and all of those drive successful businesses within the broader brand. However, I, as a customer, may be shopping across all of those divisions, and unless they have a way of connecting me as a single customer across those divisions, they will have a fragmented customer view. So they will never understand that I'm a heavy shopper in grocery and maybe heavy in clothing, but I never touch the beauty or homeware department. But I have enormous propensity to do so. Why don't I? Maybe I don't understand their product. Maybe I don't understand their brand. Many reasons, but they will never get that insight unless they can connect the dots and create a single view of a customer. The other complexity isn't just the divisional split, it's the channel split. So we have in-store shopping, we have online, which is a combination of app and web. So the e-commerce environment is split typically by a couple of channels, and we see then the non-e-commerce, so 3 different channels immediately. They as well will quite likely be split by different people leading it, different KPIs, and different gross profit lines, all of which pushes the dynamics away from creating a single view of a customer. The simplest way to get a single view of a customer would be, for example, to create a loyalty program, because the customer needs a reason to give you their information. So if the customer goes, okay, this makes sense for me, I will give you my information. I'll tell you who I am, the demographic information about me, my age, where I live, do I have children, male or female. All of those are very powerful data points for you to set the foundation of your data about a customer. And that's what you'd get when a customer signs up to the loyalty program. But that isn't that interesting. In the decades I've been working in this industry, the most powerful combination will be understanding how a customer shops with you, what are they buying from you, what is their behavior, what is their transactional behavior. And that will only come if a customer wants to be seen across your different divisions and across your different channels. And the easiest way to achieve that would be through a loyalty program where the customer goes, this makes sense, every time I shop with you, I'm going to tell you who I am because you're going to give me something back. And we call that the value exchange in a loyalty program. If you are able to achieve this, suddenly the whole landscape changes. So instead of me being a data record shopping in 4 different divisions, or maybe only 2 out of your 4 different divisions, I'm now one customer, and you can see, well, wait a minute, she's not shopping in the other 2 divisions. How do we get her to shop? She's showing a propensity to shop in the beauty division because of how she's shopping in fashion. She's showing a propensity to shop in homeware, all sitting in the data. Then if we look at the propensity for uplift across different channels, it is without doubt so well known that if a customer shops across your multiple channels, they're going to be worth more. I've seen this at least 4 times more if they're shopping across web, app, and in-store. You don't want to leave that money on the table. Those customers are already potentially shopping through your website, but don't ever come into store where you have a better display, you have better ranges, you have better in-store activations. All of that makes sense if the customer wants to come into your brand in the different channels. And you can only do that if you're talking to the customer, you're communicating to the customer, you're encouraging them to do multi-channel shopping and multi-category shopping. Some of the best loyalty programs I've seen implemented deliberately encourage this. So they may be more of an e-commerce brand, but they have an in-store presence. And they actually encourage me once a month, you'll get maximum bonus from this loyalty program if you also shop in store. So they're not just pushing the single channel. And that proves a maturity in the brand that they can see the multi-channel customer and the multi-division customer is worth more to them. And that's how you achieve the single view of the customer, is giving the customer a reason to show up and identify themselves, and then you incentivize them through the loyalty benefits. We not only see this as a challenge for a single branded organization that has different divisions, but we see this as an enormous challenge for organizations that have multiple companies. So a lot of retailers have lots of different brands under an umbrella brand. A lot of companies may have lots of different types of organizations under an umbrella brand. So let's take Virgin as a brand, a global, well-known, phenomenal brand. They have brands such as Virgin Active, they've got their airline, Virgin Atlantic, they've got beauty stores, they've got endless experiences, all under the Virgin brand. They don't know who those separate customers are. What a missed opportunity. And they've tackled that by implementing a loyalty program in the UK and the US called Virgin Red that pulls that together. So customer joins Virgin Red, they get benefits across the different Virgin companies, and suddenly there's a single view of a customer. And they're able to encourage me to fly on Virgin Atlantic instead of a competitor brand because they can see that I'm a customer who uses hotels or I'm traveling. They've got Virgin Money, which would give them insights into how I spend on my credit card and so on. So the list of opportunities, once you pull those data records together, grows exponentially and will always give you a higher return on investment. So yes, this does involve an investment. It involves creating a CRM. It involves creating a data lake to collect all this information in a fashion which you can slice and dice that data, be able to use the data then to create the opportunities for those customers to work with your brand either across different channels or across different divisions. There is no question this is one of the biggest challenges facing so many organizations, but it is solvable. It is not insurmountable. And the way to start to tackle this would be through a loyalty identifier, and customers will respond to this. Customers do respond to loyalty programs. They do behave differently, and they are willing to give their information if the benefit set is worth it. So if you're looking for an opportunity to drive a higher return on investment, multi-channel usage and multi-category usage from your customers, absolutely invest in understanding how to get a single view of your customer using a loyalty program. So how do you actually know if you're on the right track with creating a single view of a customer? A great benchmark that I've seen year on year is in different industries that does actually vary. But if you're achieving in the restaurant or QSR, quick service industry, coffee shop industry, about a 50% collection of data, customers identifying themselves either through a loyalty program or swiping the app when they buy their coffee from you, 50% of your total sales being known customers, that's a good measure. As you move through industries, if you're looking at retail, I like to see that at around 67% as a minimum. 2/3 of your database or 2/3 of your sales are identified in your database. However, in the retail industry, we see this trackable revenue against sales at about 67%. So if you're achieving 67%, that's a great benchmark, but the really powerful programs that are out there, loyalty programs, can identify for the retailers that are following a customer-centric strategy up to 90%, 80 or 90%. That is very successful, and they're driving a customer-centric retailing strategy that is giving them a return on investment.